Okay, so take two.
There you go.
All right, so this is my book, The Black Marks He Made, picture of my Neapolitan grandfather and myself when I was 5 on Easter Sunday. And I'm going to read out of my book a poem called Everlast. And if you don't know boxing, Everlast was the biggest manufacturer, may still well be, manufacturer of boxing gloves and supporter of boxing, professional boxing, Everlast. Mr. Andrews pulled on the dark red 10-ounce Everlasts, set against the slash of white in a blue world, overlooking the overlooking the Brook Sloat projects in Paterson, New Jersey. He spoke sportsmanship, prayers we figured for the corrupt fathers who spoke them into the 1965 swelter. The fight was about to begin, and I considered we're on the same baseball team. Even though the black players huddled together in the far end of the dugout, we were mates. Yet under their boxed brim hats lurked a stalking knowledge that even at the bottom of the white rung, I could access places they only watched sliding by on the disturbed surface of the murky, blood-brown Passaic River passing the ball field. Their young lives were spiked with loud sounds like "Go get 'em, Satchel," or painfully plied with nearly out of earshot sounds like "coon." I stared into Barry's eyes. My hands were sweating, and I was burning for the first blows to be thrown. I remembered someone at the ball game called Barry Satchel Page, and Barry's head leaned forward into the crowd, whose bare arms danced over a hot chain link fence. Vicious euphemisms slithered out of their mouths like dorsal fins through a dark undercurrent of red in this sea of separation, mouthing inaudible curses through tight teeth. At 13, Barry spat what looked to me like blood lost in the dirt. Mr. Andrews blew a spit-spattering whistle, leaving a small dark blue stain in the dust, and I slid up and did my best Paterson shuffle, diddy-bopping around, half dragging my right foot behind me, my hands held low and cool as Barry's. And toe-to-toe, I said, "Yeah, I know how to shotgun. I have Junior Wells in the All-Stars at my Victrola, too." We weaved a Barry Gordy silent slow dance around, shattered by "Get your damned hands up, this ain't no block party dance." "Yes, Mr. Andrews," we sang in two-part harmony, Motown choreographed by a jab and a tentative jab. "Kill the honky," taunted Barry's older brothers while boxing blue shadows, and Barry's left arm shot out, smoking "Well, I ain't no thief" streaming off of it, stabbing out a red Everlast bigger than his head. Man, I can wiggle wobble, dance a chingling, and I slipped under that jab and all its rage. Unlike Barry, who couldn't dodge his father's drunken slaps, nor duck Antonio the grocer, who was always following him around the deli next to School 5, calling him a thief. Damned on culo mulaniana, petty thief, eggplant. Barry's twisted face screaming, "I'll kill you, you fat dago pimp," while I slipped under and snatched all I could off the hostess shelf and bolted out. I ducked again under Barry's left arm, exploding with the legacy of his angry father, who at 13 saw his grandfather, William Fulbright Jackson, hanging KKK limp from a tree, leaving a spit-spattered dark spot on the sun of a sweltering day in Alabama. Barry's jab snubbed against my shoulder. I hooked my left hand, burning up in that Everlast, to his midsection with the knowledge of my rock-hard, Irish famine surviving great-grandfather, James Nina Gorman, who beat Jack Levy barefisted in New Orleans in 1865. Before he could remember, I stunned him with a combination, rising up, catching his chin, and clamping his teeth tighter still like a slip knot of hemp rope. Memories. My right hand now lay in wait in the purple shadows, like my Neapolitan grandfather, Joseph Casparino, smelling of DeNobili stogies and grappa did for that loan shark, come to collect my uncle's unpaid debt. Grandpa was a giant with slicked down white hair, had paws like Antonino Rocco. He hit that shark in the head with Rocco's hands, and I thought it couldn't be his hands, the ones that caressed my face, that held me high and firm, to see the bocce players argue, the ones that so deftly pinched the edges of the raviolis and picked the fine silk threads, passing them to the George Street silk mill bobbins. Joseph unleashed his right, then his left, and the shark legs, then his life fell from him, like a brown flush of a toilet in South Paterson sidewalk in front of me. Grandpa left me there. He ran down the block. He ran to Naples, returning to Paterson years later as Francis Nicoloro, his second-hand family in tow. How my mother cried. Small spirals of dirt memories rose at our feet, set against a slash of white in a blue world as my hand launched from its lair, and Barry was filling up with a brutish, purple, festering rage. He swore he'd kill me. Barry's right hand panther swung in a swift arc, coming with Nat Turner's faith in the righteousness of its bloody purpose. Exactly at the same instant, we made contact with each other's faces. Both of our heads were thrown back by the sheer force of our wills. Streams of the same rich ancestral crimson poured out of our noses, and some salty mix fell to the dust. Both of us were stunned back into ourselves, and Barry and I became aware of the laughter around us. Mr. Andrews stepped in with his hands on our shoulders, grinning a huge grin, asking us to shake hands and commending us on a good fight, echoed by the hooting crowd. But we looked too tired and battered for 13. Smiling at each other over the tide of the divide, embraced at last as bloodied teammates in the game of life. The only thing between us from then on was a friendship that would ever last. Everlast, everlast.